Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt it? That little gut punch, that whisper in your soul telling you something isn't right. Yeah. I'm talking about that feeling you try to shake off when you wonder if he's really being honest with you. Here are the 5 things he does if he's cheating. And trust me, the 5th one, it's the most important. First thing he does is he starts acting different. And I don't mean a little different, I mean that kind of shift that you can feel in your bones, like a subtle ripple in the air between you. You know the one I'm talking about, the little changes in routine, the mood swings, the sudden distance that leaves you asking yourself, wait, when did this start? It's not always obvious at first, because people who are hiding something, they are clever. They don't want to get caught. But the truth has a funny way of showing itself, even in the smallest of details. Let me paint the picture for you. Maybe he used to text you good morning every day, just a simple, "Hey, beautiful. Hope you slept well." But now, nothing, nada. Or maybe he comes home from work, and instead of hugging you like he used to, he sinks into the couch like he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. And when you ask what's wrong, he brushes it off, says, "Just tired, babe." But your heart, your intuition, that quiet voice that you've learned to trust, it knows. It feels it. Something is off. Behavioral shifts can show up in ways you might not even think to notice. He starts guarding his phone like it's a national secret. He's suddenly obsessed with privacy, always locking it, never leaving it unattended, even when it used to be casual. Or maybe he's picking fights over things that didn't matter before. Tiny arguments over nothing, just to throw you off balance. Or the opposite happens. He's overly nice, too charming, too sweet, like he's trying so hard to convince himself and you that everything is okay. That's the tricky part. Healing your heart through this stage isn't about accusing. It's about noticing patterns and protecting yourself emotionally. And here's the thing. Behavioral changes are not always dramatic, but they're consistent. The way he interacts with you changes in subtle ways. Maybe he used to call you during lunch just to say hello or a silly meme to make you smile. Now, you're lucky if he replies to a message in less than an hour. Or maybe he's distracted when you're talking, scrolling through his phone, zoning out while your words bounce off him. It's a kind of emotional withdrawal that hurts more than any argument could, because it leaves you questioning yourself, doubting if it's just your imagination. But here's where your power comes in. Notice it. Acknowledge it. First thing he does is change how he acts around you, but your reaction doesn't have to be reactive. It can be reflective. You don't have to chase explanations that may never come. You don't have to shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable. What you can do is recognize these shifts as your signal to pay attention. Not to him, but to yourself. Your emotional radar is sharp. It's been trying to tell you something all along. Trust it. And let me be clear, noticing a change doesn't automatically mean betrayal. Life happens, stress happens, people change. But when your gut is persistent, when your heart feels the difference over days, weeks, months, that's your cue to listen. First thing he does is show you a pattern, and your response is what matters most. Protect your heart, protect your peace, and never silence that inner voice, because that voice, that's your truth, that's your power. And the more you tune into it, the stronger, wiser, and more resilient you become, no matter what the outcome is. So pay attention. Notice the little things. The shift in routine, the quiet withdrawal, the sudden tension that wasn't there before. First thing he does is change. And your job, your gift, is to see it with clarity, feel it with courage, and act with love for yourself. Because at the end of the day, your heart deserves honesty, your soul deserves respect, and your life deserves peace. The second thing he does is he changes the way he communicates with you. And I'm not just talking about the occasional missed text or forgotten call. I'm talking about a shift that you feel deep down in your bones, even if you can't put it into words at first. Communication is the lifeblood of any relationship. It's how we share our hearts, our fears, our dreams, and our love. When that starts to falter, when the way he talks to you suddenly feels off, it's not just annoying. It's a signal, a warning, a whisper your heart should never ignore. You might notice it in small ways at first. Maybe he's slower to reply to your messages. Maybe those late night conversations that used to stretch for hours are now shorter, clipped, and lacking the warmth they once had. Or perhaps when you try to talk about something important, something that matters to you, he shuts down, changes the subject, or becomes irritated for no real reason. And you find yourself asking, why is he like this? What did I do wrong? Let me stop you right there. It's not you. It's never about you when someone starts hiding something. Communication patterns are a reflection of the heart. When someone is being dishonest or unfaithful, they start to withdraw emotionally. And it's tricky because he might still talk to you. He might still laugh with you or make casual conversation, but there's a distance there. A subtle separation, like a window that's suddenly fogged over. You're talking, but he's holding back. You're reaching, but he's pulling away. It's that invisible barrier that you feel before your eyes even see it. And your intuition, it already knows something is different. Another thing you might notice is avoidance. He avoids meaningful conversations. The ones that ask the hard questions, the ones that dig deep into your relationship, the ones that might expose what he's hiding. He doesn't want to be vulnerable. He doesn't want to be honest. And so, instead of connecting, he deflects jokes or pretends everything is normal. But your heart is not fooled. You know the difference between surface level chatter and real soul-touching communication. And when you feel that absence, it hurts because you're left craving the intimacy that used to be effortless. Then there's emotional distance. Maybe he no longer shares his thoughts, his day, his plans. Maybe the excitement in his voice when he talks to you is gone, replaced by monotone responses or vague answers. And let me tell you something. The absence of conversation is not a coincidence. It's intentional, even if he doesn't consciously realize it. Because when someone starts hiding their truth, they start protecting their space. And often, that comes at the cost of your connection. But here's where you step in and reclaim your power. First thing he does is shift his communication. But you have the choice to listen carefully and protect yourself emotionally. You don't have to beg for attention, demand explanations, or chase after words that aren't coming from a place of honesty. You can recognize the change, acknowledge the truth of your feelings, and decide what your heart deserves. And remember, this is about healing, not accusing. This is about clarity, not punishment. You're learning to tune into the subtle signs, to trust your intuition, and to honor your emotional well-being. Because the way he communicates with you tells a story. It speaks louder than gifts, gestures, or empty promises. Your heart already knows what it needs to hear. And when the words stop carrying honesty, it's time to pay attention. So notice it. The delays, the avoidance, the emotional distance. The second thing he does is change the way he communicates. And your job is not to fix him. It's to protect yourself, to listen to your heart, and to take steps toward clarity and peace. Because when your heart is honored, when your feelings are acknowledged, And when your intuition is trusted, you start moving toward freedom, toward self-respect, and toward the love you truly deserve. The third thing, he starts overcompensating. And let me tell you, overcompensation is one of those sneaky signals that can be confusing because on the surface it looks like love, it looks like care, attention, affection. But when you dig a little deeper, you start to feel that it's too much, too soon, too deliberate. It's like he's trying to buy back your trust before you even knew it was gone. You see, when someone is hiding something, guilt has a way of sneaking into every action. And guilt doesn't stay silent. It starts speaking through gestures, words, and behaviors. Maybe he suddenly showers you with gifts, not because he thought of it or wanted to make you smile, but because he feels the weight of his secret. Maybe he's extra affectionate, calling you, texting you, hugging you, and whispering sweet nothings that sound almost rehearsed. You're left thinking, wow, he's really trying, but deep down, something about it feels off. That's your intuition, honey. Trust it. Overcompensation often comes in bursts. Maybe he plans elaborate dates, surprises, or trips that he never did before. Maybe he's constantly complimenting you, overpraising you, overdoing it in ways that feel unnatural. And while it might make your heart flutter for a moment, it also makes you question why the change is so sudden. Because when actions are over the top, they're often masking a deeper truth. A truth he isn't ready to face with you yet. And here's the thing about overcompensation. It's exhausting. You start feeling like you're constantly under a microscope, like nothing is ever normal anymore. The sweet, casual intimacy that once existed feels replaced by a performance, by a show, by a frantic attempt to cover tracks. And when you notice it, don't dismiss your feelings. Your heart is speaking. Your intuition is saying, something is not right here. But let me be clear, overcompensation isn't always about cheating. Sometimes people just react out of insecurity, fear, or misunderstanding. The difference is consistency. Overcompensation tied to secrecy often comes with other signs, behavioral shifts, changes in communication, secrecy around devices, and emotional distance. When all of these pieces start lining up, that's when your heart starts piecing together the bigger picture. Here's where you reclaim your power. First thing he does is overcompensate. But your response doesn't have to be reactive. You don't have to be swept away by gifts, words, or grand gestures. You can honor your feelings and set your boundaries. You can see the actions for what they are, a mask, a bandage over the truth, and not let them cloud your judgment. Protecting your peace is more important than accepting a performance of love. And remember, overcompensation is not about you being unworthy. It's about him hiding something. The problem is never your heart. The problem is the deception he's trying to cover. Your awareness, your clarity, and your emotional intuition are your allies here. Listen to them, lean into them. And when you notice those gestures, don't just accept them blindly. Ask yourself, does this feel natural? Does it feel like love or like a cover-up? Your heart knows the answer before your mind does. So pay attention. Notice the gifts, the sudden affection, the extra attention. The third thing he does is overcompensate. But your power is in seeing through it. Your strength is in protecting your heart, trusting your instincts, and choosing clarity over comfort. Because when your heart is honored, when your emotions are respected, and when your intuition is trusted, you are no longer just surviving the uncertainty. You're reclaiming your freedom, your peace, and your self-respect. And let me tell you, nothing is more beautiful than a heart that knows its worth and refuses to settle for anything less than the truth. The fourth thing he does is he starts hiding his digital life. And let me tell you, this one is tricky because in today's world, our phones, our messages, our apps, they're the windows to our lives. And when someone starts being secretive about their digital world, it's often the first red flag that something is off. Now listen, I'm not talking about privacy. Everyone deserves privacy. But when secrecy turns into suspicion, that's when your heart needs to pay attention. You might notice it in subtle ways at first. Maybe he's suddenly protective of his phone, like it's some national treasure. Maybe he changes his passcode, starts keeping his phone face down, or never lets it out of his sight. Maybe he's deleting messages, logging out of social media apps, or brushing off simple questions about who he's talking to. And when you ask, he might give you a casual shrug or a nervous laugh, but something in his eyes, oh yes, your intuition will catch it, tells a different story. Then there's the timing. Maybe he's suddenly online late at night when he used to be asleep. Maybe he steps out to take calls, closes doors when he never did before, or gets defensive when you ask harmless questions about his messages. These are the little cracks in the wall, the subtle signs that your heart has been waiting for, the whispers that scream louder than words ever could. And here's the thing about digital secrets. They're often paired with other signs, behavioral shifts, changes in communication, emotional distance, overcompensation. All of it ties together. It's like a puzzle. And your intuition, it's the key piece that sees the picture before your mind does. First thing he does is start hiding his digital life. But your awareness is what protects you. You don't have to snoop. You don't have to dig for proof. Your job is to notice patterns, trust your instincts, and honor your peace. And let me tell you something. Hidden digital life can be emotionally exhausting. You start questioning everything. Why did he delete that message? Who was he texting at 2 a.m.? Why does he log out when I walk by? And your mind spins because uncertainty is heavy on the heart. But here's the healing truth: uncertainty doesn't have to control you. Awareness does. Observation does. And when you see these patterns, you get to decide what your heart deserves. Clarity, honesty, and respect. Not secrecy, excuses, or lies. First thing he does is guard his digital world. But your power is in noticing, in validating your own feelings, in trusting that gut feeling that's been speaking to you all along. This is not about being paranoid. This is about being wise. This is about protecting yourself from emotional harm while staying connected to your own strength. And here's the most comforting part: your intuition is always right. Your heart has been telling you what you need to know long before your mind catches up. Hidden digital life is just a piece of the puzzle, a reflection of a deeper truth. And when you recognize it, you reclaim control, not over him, but over your own heart. You reclaim peace, clarity, and self-respect. So notice the deleted messages, the secretive logins, the sudden defensiveness. The fourth thing he does is hide his digital life. But your job is to see clearly, trust your instincts, and honor your emotional well-being. Because when your heart is protected, when your intuition is respected, and when your peace is your priority, no secret can shake your strength. And let me tell you, nothing is more powerful than a heart that trusts itself, stands strong, and refuses to settle for anything less than the truth. The fifth thing he does is, he triggers your gut instinct. And let me tell you, this one is the most powerful of them all. Because no matter how clever someone is at hiding the truth, your intuition, it's smarter than you think. Your gut sees what your eyes might miss, hears what your ears might ignore, and feels what your heart already knows deep down. And when that feeling starts creeping in, it's not paranoia. It's clarity knocking at your door. You know the feeling I'm talking about. That pit in your stomach when something doesn't feel right. That quiet voice that whispers, wait a minute, something's off here. Maybe you notice small inconsistencies in his stories. Maybe he's acting differently around certain people. Maybe there are tiny behaviors that don't add up. And even if he's smiling, even if he's telling you everything's fine, your intuition is waving a red flag and you ignore it at your own risk. Subtle signs are everywhere, but they're often disguised as ordinary. Maybe he forgets things he never forgot before, or remembers them in ways that feel rehearsed. Maybe he's less present when you're together, distracted or lost in thought. Maybe there's tension when he comes home from work, or he seems unusually stressed without explanation. These small shifts, these little cracks in the everyday rhythm are the breadcrumbs that your gut instinct follows to uncover the bigger picture. And here's the thing, your intuition doesn't lie. It doesn't guess. It doesn't speculate. It simply observes, it feels, and it warns you when something is out of alignment with your heart. First thing he does is create subtle shifts, and your gut picks up the story before your mind even understands it. That feeling of unease, that nagging suspicion, that quiet whisper in the middle of the night, it's not your imagination. It's your inner wisdom trying to guide you toward clarity, truth, and subtle protection. Sometimes subtle signs can feel confusing or even guilt-inducing. You may ask yourself, am I overreacting? Am I reading too much into this? And let me stop you right there. No, you are not overreacting. You are listening to the part of yourself that has been trained to survive, to protect, and to thrive. Your gut instinct is your superpower. And when you learn to trust it, you are no longer just reacting to someone else's behavior. You are responding from a place of strength, clarity, and love for yourself. First thing he does is show signs that don't scream. They whisper. But those whispers are loud enough for your intuition to hear. Maybe it's a change in tone, a hesitation in words, or a glance that doesn't meet yours. Maybe it's a sense of distance that isn't explained by work, stress, or life circumstances. And when you put these pieces together, your gut paints the picture before you even need proof. And here's the healing part. Trusting your gut is not about confrontation or accusations. It's about honoring your emotional intelligence, listening to your heart and protecting your peace. Your intuition is not your enemy, it's your guide. It leads you away from deception and towards clarity and closer to the love and respect that you deserve. Because the truth, no matter how painful, sets you free. So pay attention. Notice the subtle signs, the quiet shifts, the feelings that don't match the words. The fifth thing he does is trigger your gut instinct. But your power is in trusting that instinct, acknowledging your feelings, and choosing actions that honor your heart. Because when you do, you don't just survive uncertainty. You rise above it. You reclaim your strength. You protect your peace. And most importantly, you remind yourself that your heart is worthy of truth, love, and unwavering respect.